There are few cars on the market that can match the fit in terms of versatility and affordability, which is why Honda's not making many changes to the winning formula for 2019. This particular fit is the mid-level EX, which is the sweet spot in terms of equipment, but we will also be covering all the other trim levels as well. So let's go ahead and see what makes this fit so special.
We would like to specially thank Gates Honda for allowing us to come out and film this review. If you would like to find out more information about their dealership and large inventory of Hondas, then check the video description for both their physical and web addresses.
So on the top two trims of the fit, you're going to find Honda's smart entry system with this nice key fob. Otherwise, on the LX and Sport, you're just going to get the typical regular key. Like always, we're going to start out under the hood.
Alright, so we'll start out here with the specs. The fit is pretty simple when it comes to the powertrain. It's a 1.5 liter 4-cylinder engine, and depending on the transmission, the automatic is rated at 130 horsepower and 114 pound-feet of torque, while the manual is rated at 128 horsepower and 113 pound-feet of torque. So it's pretty simple when it comes to under the hood. Like I said, it is a continuously variable transmission or a manual. You have that option, and the manual transmission is standard on all but the EXL trim. So obviously fuel economy is pretty good for a fit. The manual transmission is rated at 29 city, 36 highway, 31 combined. But if you want the best fuel economy, you're going to have to get the CVT, which is rated at 33 combined, or on the LX it's rated at 36 combined. So that's pretty much it on the powertrain.
Alright, so let's see how this all works in practice. Overall, while the fit's certainly not fast, it is surprisingly agile and fun to drive. The fit is less about style than it is about substance, but it's still not a bad looking car. The front end actually has a bit of aggression to it, with a thin black grille that is traced by chrome for all fits. The only difference you might notice between the trims is an orange strip along the bottom to spice up the Sport. The grille nicely flows into the headlights, which are the same halogen beams across all trims, And then at the bottom you'll find fog lights and a black mesh housing on all but the base LX. The side of the Fit is its least glamorous angle, but it does highlight just how utilitarian it is. Despite measuring in at only 161 inches long, which is 18 inches shorter than the Civic for reference, the interior still manages to be as cavernous as some crossovers. And then moving around to the rear, it actually looks like a crossover because of how upright the rear profile is. All Fits get these CRV-like stacked taillights, which are surprisingly LED across all trim levels. For EX and EXL, things are further classed up with a chrome accent across the back. Or if you choose the Sport, you instead get another orange accent to match the one in the front, and an exposed exhaust tip instead of a hidden one. Overall, I think Honda's done a fine job here. For the wheels, there are 3 possible options, topping out with these 16 inchers. These are standard on the EX and EXL, but the Sport also gets 16-inch alloys just finished fully in black. Finally, at the lowest end, there are 15-inch steel wheels with hubcaps. As far as the brakes, they are 10.3-inch ventilated disc in the front, and 7.9-inch drum brakes in the rear. Moving on to the mirrors, there's nothing complicated to report, just body color and power adjustments on all trims, and then heating with turn signals added to the EXL. On the passenger side, you'll also find a camera for the lane watch system, which I'll talk about later on the inside. The only notable change for 2019 on the outside is more safety equipment being added to the already generous Honda Sensing Suite. Auto high beam headlights are now included, in addition to adaptive cruise control, collision mitigation braking, and lane keeping assist. These systems are standard on the EX trims and optional on the LX and Sport so long as you choose the continuously variable transmission. Not many cars in this class have those features so widely available. The last thing to cover on the outside is the fuel tank, which is 10.2 gallons on all models. Despite being that small, the stellar fuel economy still allows it to achieve as much as 364 miles of range for the CVT LX, falling to 336 for the other CVT trims, and then 316 for all the manual models. Of course, just use regular fuel. Well, that concludes everything to look at on the outside. So now let's see why the Fit's interior has been praised for years. So inside the Fit, you can have any interior color you want, so long as it's black. On the Sport, you would get some orange accent stitching to spice things up a little bit, and on the EXL it would be leather, but otherwise it's exactly the same as what you see here. As far as the door trim goes, it is hard touch down here, but you do have soft cloth going across this part. And only the driver's window is one touch automatic. As far as the seat goes, it is 6-way manual adjusting across all of the trims, and the cloth itself feels durable, and it's actually surprisingly comfortable to set in. Now, I've been in the Fit several times at this point, but what really impresses me is just how spacious it feels in here. And also the materials don't really feel economy grade. As you would expect, all of the upper parts are hard touch, but this middle area is actually soft, and so is this area, and that's pretty rare in this class. And then of course you've got your typical Honda build quality where everything fits together really tightly and feels solid. To start the fit, if you got the EX and above trim, you're just going to push the button. You will find a screen on all fits, but you're going to have to get at least the Sport to get this 7-inch one. So what you're looking at now are the upgraded gauges that come on the EX and EXL, or also on the Sport or LX if you've got the safety systems. But they're just composed of your typical speedometer in the middle, and then you've got 2 digital displays on the side. Makes for a nice overall look. For the steering, of course, it is electric power, and strangely you have the leather-wrapped wheel on the Sport and the EXL, missing the EX. Got your typical audio controls, phone controls, and then here's for your cruise control, which in our case is adaptive. On the back of the wheel you do have paddle shifters to go through the simulated gear changes. The wheel itself does manually tilt and telescope. It's worth mentioning in this class of vehicle that we do also have auto headlights, and that's standard across the whole range. Additionally, if you put on your right turn signal, that activates the lane watch system instead of blind spot monitoring. So this camera comes up, you've got your distance markers so you can kind of gauge that, and that keeps you safe. Off to the side, we've got a adjustable cup holder. You've got your Econ button to help your fuel economy, and then you've got some buttons to turn off your safety systems. But storage is the main thing that you buy the Fit for, and it does phenomenal compared to all the competition. In the center, not only do you have a armrest, which a lot in the class are missing, inside, plenty of space, and you've got some connections down there, a USB and a 12-volt outlet. You've got some more space right here, and then up in the front, you've got this huge bin, plenty big enough for a phone or some other stuff. You've got another 12-volt outlet, and in this case a charging USB port. So this is your shifter that you get with the automatic. It would have some leather stitching if you have the Sport or the EXL. If you go all the way back, you activate the S, the Sport mode, and that allows you to shift via the paddle shifters. When we go into reverse, we have a standard backup camera. It does actually include trajectory across all the trims, as well as these 3 different angles. So that's very nice for the class. And the parking brake is manual. Also manual are your climate controls across all 4 of the trims. Everything here is, super simple to use as you'd expect. You've got your zones, and you've got this nice mechanical switch here, which you can actually hear, which is very interesting, but very easy overall to use. Now let's go ahead and sample the standard 6-speaker audio system. I have to admit, that sounds a lot better than you'd expect for the price tag. Now let's go ahead and click through the HondaLink system. This is the home screen, and this year the volume knob has been brought back. Starting out in audio, we are currently connected via the standard Bluetooth, and can play, pause, and skip tracks straight from here. And here are all the other available sources. Next up is phone with all of your regular stuff. In phone book, you can find all of your contacts automatically synced over from your phone. The last thing I want to point out is that you now have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. They would appear here after you plug in a smartphone through the USB port. That's all I will cover in this video, but if you want a very detailed look at the entire system, then check out our dedicated tech help video. A link to that is in the description.
Up here, you've got a manual dimming mirror, and that's across all 4 of the trims. However, only on the top 2 trims is this moonroof. This is just your typical size moonroof, but you do have a nice wind buffer up here. So all in all, the Fit's interior continues to impress. I mean, it's just so spacious in here, and then the materials are nice and it's comfortable. Plus it's cheap, so it's a winning formula if you ask me. Now I'll go ahead and hand it off to Mason, who's going to finish things out. The rear door trim of the Fit is just like the front. You've got some hard touch material down here, but you do have this part that's nicely padded, and you do have some silver trim. The rear window is power, but not automatic. And down below you do have plenty of storage for some bottles. Space is where the Fit really shines, and that shows here in the rear. You've got 39.3 inches of legroom and 37.5 inches of headroom. To put that in perspective, the Toyota Yaris is a full 6 inches smaller than that. So that's pretty crazy big. The seats are also pretty comfortable. Obviously in the center you don't have any vents or any connections, but that's definitely not expected. You're also missing out on a center armrest, also not expected for this class. However, you do have some center lighting up top. The headliner is really soft. And you do have an assist grip and coat hook. And like I said, space is really a great aspect of the Fit, and that shows behind Drew's position. Here I am, and I have about 8 inches or so of leg room, and this is behind Drew's position, and my feet can slide up under the seat. So this is a super spacious car for this class. And sliding over, I still have probably 6 inches of leg room, even with the seat all the way back. So once again, super spacious and actually pretty comfortable. So that basically sums up how I feel about the Honda Fit's rear seat. It's really nothing special, but it is spacious and comfortable, which is really all you're looking for in this class. So I have to give it to Honda. This is a great job. Alright, so now that I'm out, let's go ahead and check out the Magic rear seats. There are several different configurations you can put these in, so I'm just going to throw in a clip over top of this because I can't do it with one hand. Coming around to the rear of the Fit, you obviously have a manual tailgate, so just find this button under the lid and push. Inside you're going to find a large amount of space again, at 16.6 cubic feet with the seats in place, and a maximum of 52.7 cubic feet. Once again, that's a lot larger than most competitors, and I have to say it's actually really spacious back here. You can't fold the seats, just grab this, push them forward. Doesn't fold flat because the headrest is up, but definitely a lot of space back here for any of your needs. course, the seat is manually adjusting. Materials in front of you are actually pretty nice. You got this stitched plastic, some silver trim. The glove box is not dampened, but it is pretty good sized. You do have a mirror.